Hi everybody, myself Asif Pazheri from Kerala. I'm going to discuss some common questions. I'm going to give you the last minute tip which in CA CPT Statistics parts. Last minute tip. Some questions in CA CPT from statistics parts are very common. So I'm going to discuss the CA CPT last minute tip with the help of some few keywords. The one of the keyword is method, the other keyword is zero. There are 3 multiple choices from the word method is coming, 6 multiple choices coming from the word zero. From the word minimum, 5 multiple choices are coming. From the word -1 and +1, around 6 multiple choice questions are coming. And from the original scale, there are 4 different types of multiple choices are coming. From the word linear and non-linear, 4 multiple choices. From the relationship, there are many. And from the mathematical property, I am going to discuss some multiple choices. In CA CPT exam, some of the questions will be common from here. Normally, you can expect a minimum of 3 to 4 marks from this area. Ready? Now, the first word I am going to discuss is method. What is the first word I am going to discuss is method. Are you ready? So, there are a few multiple choices from the word method, right? On the first multiple choice. The method usually applied for fitting a binomial distribution. The method usually applied for fitting a binomial distribution is method of moments. The method usually applied for fitting a binomial distribution is method of moments. The second one, the method for solving regression equation. The method for solving regression equation is method of least square. The method for solving regression equation is method of least square. The method for solving regression equation is method of least square. What is that? Method of least square. These are the only 2 questions which is coming from the word method. And these questions are common. If done, the same question could be happened in your CA CPT. It can happen. Okay, that much important question. So should I go for 0? Yes. 0. The next multiple choice is 0. Are you ready? Yes. The first one. The sum of deviation of observation, taken from arithmetic mean, the sum of deviation of observation taken from arithmetic mean is 0. Sum of deviation of observation taken from arithmetic mean is 0. That is sigma x minus x bar equal to 0. That is sigma x minus x bar equal to 0. The sum of deviation of observation taken from arithmetic mean is 0. That is sigma x minus x bar equal to 0. This is the first multiple choice. Actually, they will ask a problem. Okay, find, write down the question. Find the sum of deviation of observation from their arithmetic mean. Find sum of deviation of observation from arithmetic mean for the following numbers. -20, -30. +50, 60, 80. What is the answer? 0. Sum of deviation of observation taken from arithmetic mean is 0. Understood? The next question, next important question. This question appeared only one time in CA CPT, and this question appeared in year 2012 December. The sum of differences of ranks. The sum of differences of ranks in a rank correlation is 0. The sum of differences of ranks in a rank correlation is 0. The sum of differences of ranks in a rank correlation is 0. That is sigma d equal to 0. Sigma d equal to 0. Next goes to next multiple choices from 0 are coming from correlation coefficient. What is that from? From the area of correlation coefficient. Right now, if x and y are independent, then the correlation coefficient between x and y, is 0. If x and y are independent, then the correlation coefficient between x and y is 0. If x and y are independent, then the correlation coefficient between x and y is 0. Correlation coefficient between x and y is what? 0. Next step. If covariance of xy is equal to 0, then correlation coefficient is 0. Next step. If the two regression lines forms if the two regression lanes forms perpendicular, if the two regression lanes forms perpendicular, that is 90 degree. If the two regression lanes forms perpendicular, that is 90 degree, then R is equal to 0. R, that means correlation coefficient is equal to 0. If the two regression lanes forms perpendicular, then R is equal to 0 or 90 degree. If the correlation coefficient, if the angle of degree is 90, then the correlation coefficient is what? 0. Understood? Comfortable?
Yes.
Comfortable? So these are the multiple choices coming from the word 0. Are you okay? Comfortable. Next we are going for minimum. What is that? Minimum. There are 5 minimum is coming from statistics. 5 minimum. The first minimum. Are you ready?
Yes.
The sum of squares of deviation of observation. The sum of squares of deviation of observation. The sum of squares of deviation of observation taken from arithmetic mean. Taken from arithmetic mean is minimum. Is minimum means it has the smallest value. Is minimum means it has the smallest value. If you take sigma x minus x bar whole square instead of sigma x minus x bar, instead of sigma x minus median whole square, the least value will be having x minus x bar. Okay. This question in the last time, this happened in 2015 December. Sigma x minus x bar, sum of squares of deviation of observation taken from arithmetic mean is minimum. Understood? Next thing. Sum of absolute deviation. Sum of absolute deviation taken from median. Sum of absolute deviation taken from median is minimum. Sum of absolute deviation taken from median is minimum. Sum of absolute deviation taken from median is minimum. Sum of absolute deviation taken from median is minimum. That is sigma modulus of x minus median is minimum while comparing with mean and mod, geometric mean and harmonic mean. Are you okay? Comfortable? Next, mean deviation about the median. Mean deviation about the median. Mean deviation about the median is minimum. Mean deviation about the median is minimum. Mean deviation about the median is minimum. Next, the regression equation is solved. The regression equation is solved by the method of least square. The regression equation is solved by the method of least square by minimizing the vertical distances. By minimizing the vertical distances. Actually, this is one of the least important minimum, but these are the minimums coming in CA CPT. Are you okay? By minimizing the vertical distances. Okay, next comes the very, very important multiple choice. -1 and +1. -1 and +1. Right now, highly important multiple choice. Okay. First one. Now look at that. There's a big question. It's a big question of 5 mark in natural type of question is coming for your CPT. The following are the ranks given by 5 participants. The following are the ranks given to 5 participants. The participants are A, B, C, D, E, and these are the ranks given by 2 judges. Ranked by judge 1, ranked by judge 1, okay, and ranked by judge 2. Ranked by judge 2. Okay, these are the ranks given by judge 1 and judge 2. For the first fellow, this is judge 1. Okay, for the first fellow has given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this was 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Now the question is, what is the rank correlation? What is the rank correlation? You don't have to do this question. Actually, this question you have to do 1 minus 6 into sigma d square divided by n into n square minus 1. If the ranks given by 2 judges are in reverse order, then the rank correlation will be -1. What is the answer? -1. If this question is asking, you don't have to do this question. This question appeared in CA CPT 3 times. Last time this question appeared in 2014 December. 2014 December. If the ranks given, if this question comes in this format, you don't have to do. The answer will be -1. Okay. In the next December, in the next CPT, they asked another question. If the ranks given by 2 judges, write down. If the ranks given by 2 judges are in reverse order, if the ranks given by 2 judges are in reverse order, if the ranks given by 2 judges are in reverse order, then the rank correlation will be, then the rank divided by n into n square minus 1. The answer will be what? Plus 1. Okay, right on. If the ranks given by two judges are in same order, if the ranks given by two judges are in same order, then the rank correlation will be plus 1. If the ranks given by two judges are in same order, then the rank correlation will be plus 1. What is the answer? Plus 1. Next step. If the plotted points in a scatter diagram is 45 degree, what is that? 45 degree. Then R is equal to plus 1. If the plotted points is 135 degree, what is that? 135 degree. Then R is equal to minus 1. Right now. If the plotted points in a scatter diagram forms 45 degree, then R is equal to plus 1. And if the plotted points is 135 degree, R is equal to minus 1. R is equal to what? Minus 1. Comfortable? Comfortable?
Yes.
Any difficulty?
No.
Any difficulty?
No.
R is equal to plus 1 and R is equal to minus 1. Next comes the important questions. Ready?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Now there is a question. This question is not from the CA CPT. Actually, this is an internationally accepted question. This question is from British Chartered Accountancy ACCA paper of 2 and CMI US from the part of budgeting. There is correlation and regression analysis. In that area, they are asking a question. X is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. X is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Y is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay. Then what is the correlation coefficient? If you draw a graph, it will be like a straight line. It will be a straight line. Understood? If you plot x is equal to 1 here, x is equal to 220. Am I right? Here it is 1, 2, 3. Here it is 10, 20 like that. Am I right? So it will be forming a straight line. So R is equal to plus 1. You don't have to do this question. Here answer R is equal to what? Plus 1. Plus equal to what? Plus 1. If x is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, y is equal to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, R is equal to plus 1. Are you okay? Now, if the other question, if x is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and y is equal to 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, then what is that? If you plot the graph, will be like this. Am I right? So R is equal to minus 1. R is equal to what? Minus 1 will be your answer. R is equal to minus 1. Comfortable?
Yes.
Comfortable?
Yes.
Now comes the very, very important multiple choices. Okay. The two regression lanes are identical. The two regression lanes are identical. The two regression lanes are identical when R is equal to plus 1 or R is equal to minus 1. The two regression lanes are identical when R is equal to plus 1 or R is equal to minus 1. The two regression lanes are identical when R is equal to plus 1 or R is equal to minus 1. Next. Coincidential. Right on. The two regression lanes are coincidential. The two regression lanes are coincidential. What is that? Coincidential when R is equal to plus 1 or R is equal to minus 1. The two regression lanes are coincidential when R is equal to plus 1 or R is equal to minus 1. Are you okay? Are you okay? So minus 1 and plus 1 is over. This I have given all the multiple choices from the area. Minus 1 and plus 1. Among them, the rank given by two judges are in reverse order is highly important. Same order is highly important. Coincidential is highly important and identical is highly important. Are you okay?
Yes.
Comfortable? Next we are going for origin and scale. What is that? Origin and scale. Origin and scale. This is one of the common question. Okay. Now for us there are different measures. The measures are classified. I am going to classify the measures as one is measure of central tendency, mean, median, mode, geometric mean, harmonic mean are called measures of central tendency. Am I right? Next, measures of dispersion, range, quartile deviation, mean deviation, standard deviation are called the measures of dispersion. Then comes the regression analysis. Then comes the correlation analysis. Are you okay? Then comes the correlation. I am talking about the Carl Pearson very particularly. Okay? Correlation analysis. Are you okay? Comfortable? Yes. So I am going to discuss about origin and the scale. Origin and scale means if y is equal to a plus bx, this b is called the scale or variable cost scale, and this a is called the origin or fixed fixed cost. Okay, there are many interpretation on that. Right now it's not the time to discuss that. I'm going to discuss the multiple choice. Now the question is coming like this. There are two words. One is there are two types of words. One is independent and dependent. The other one is affected and unaffected. Okay, affected equal to dependent. Affected means dependent. Independent is equal to unaffected. Independent is equal to unaffected. Okay. So measure of central tendency is affected by origin and affected by scale. Affected by origin and affected by scale. Measure of dispersion is unaffected by origin and affected by scale. What is that? Unaffected by origin and affected by scale. Measure of dispersion is unaffected by origin but affected by scale. Regression equation is unaffected by origin but affected by scale. Correlation coefficient is unaffected by both. Unaffected by both. Write down this box. Are you okay? Comfortable?
Yes.
Are you okay? Comfortable?
Yes.
So measure of central tendency is affected by origin and unaffected by scale. Measure of dispersion is unaffected by origin but affected by scale. Regression analysis is unaffected by origin but affected by scale. Correlation analysis unaffected by origin and unaffected by scale. Now the question is coming. Right on. The question which is asked in 2015 December. The last question from this area is asked in 2015 December. Right on. Standard deviation is independent of. Standard deviation is independent of. Option A, origin. Option B, scale. Option C, both. Option D, none. What is standard deviation? Standard deviation is measure of dispersion. Am I right? Standard deviation is independent, unaffected by origin. Am I right? Unaffected by origin. Understood? Clear? Now, one more question. Mode is dependent on. Right on. Another question. Mode is dependent on. Option A, origin. Option B, scale. Option B, scale. Option C, both. Option D, none. What is the answer? Mode is affected by origin and scale. Understood?
Yes.
In this format, you can do this question. Not that correlation coefficient is unaffected by or independent by both origin and scale. Comfortable?
Yes.
Comfortable? This is one of the very important question. Are you okay? Comfortable?
Yes.
So one of the very important question. One of the very important area of origin and scale. Now I am going to discuss linear and non-linear relationship. What is that? Linear and non-linear relationship in correlation. In correlation. This is another common question which is coming in your CA CPT. So linear, okay, linear relationship. The next one is non-linear relationship. Okay. Now different measures of correlation are, one is scatter diagram. Am I right? One is scatter diagram. The other one is Spearman's rank correlation. What is that? Spearman's rank correlation is the another one, rank correlation. Now can I put Carl Pearson next? Are you okay? Carl Pearson's correlation coefficient. Carl Pearson's correlation. Then comes the last one is concurrent. What is that? Concurrent. Actually, no question is from concurrent is asking. Okay. Now these are the questions which okay. Now look at that. Spearman, in Carl Pearson's method, one can find the correlation coefficient only if there is linear relationship. Only if there is linear relationship. If there is no linear relationship, you will not be able to find out Carl Pearson. You will not be able to find out Carl Pearson. And if there is linear, then only you can find out concurrent. And if there is no linear, you will not be able to find out the concurrent. But if it is linear or non-linear, you will be able, if it is linear or non-linear, you will be able to find out from what? Scatter diagram, you will be able to find out if it is linear relationship, and if there is no linear relationship, you will be able to find out the correlation coefficient. Understood? Hello?
Yes.
One can find the correlation coefficient in scatter diagram if there is linear relationship and if there is no linear relationship. Now, one technique you can remember, scatter is starting with the S, Spearman's rank correlation, Spearman starting with the S. So both the S are S for both, linear and non-linear. Okay. The question coming from here is like this. In Spearman rank correlation, right on. In Spearman rank correlation, the Spearman rank correlation, the association need not be linear. In Spearman rank correlation, the association need not be linear. In Spearman rank evaluation, the association need not be linear. Option A true, option B false, option C partly true, option D partly false. What is the answer?
True.
True is the answer. This is the model question coming from, what is that, linear and non-linear. Am I right? Am I right?
Yes.
Next, mathematical property. Next heading, mathematical property. Mathematical property. Only 4 measures is having mathematical property. Only 4 measures is having mathematical property. They are, first one is arithmetic mean, second one is GM, next is HM, and the last one is standard deviation. Please note that among measures of central tendency, only standard deviation is having mathematical property. What is that? Arithmetic mean is having mathematical property, GM is having mathematical property, HM is having mathematical property, standard deviation is having mathematical property. The question which is asked in the recent past is, write on the question, which of the following measures is having mathematical property? Which of the following measures is having mathematical property? Which of the following measures is having mathematical property? Which of the following measures is having mathematical property? Which of the following measures is having mathematical property? Option A QD, option B range, option C mode, option D SD. What is the answer? SD. Only SD. Understood clear? Arithmetic mean, geometric mean, harmonic mean, standard deviation. Are you okay? Comfortable? Now comes the relationship. What is that? Relationship between different items. One question, in many years they are asking relationship questions. Okay. The first relationship, actually this is not from the chapter measure of central tendency. Actually this is from the chapter called theoretical distribution. It is related to normal distribution. Okay. MD is equal to mean deviation is equal to 4 by 5 standard deviation. Mean deviation is equal to 4 by 5 standard deviation, and the reverse is also possible. Standard deviation is equal to 5 by 4 MD. Standard deviation is equal to 5 by 4 MD. Actually 80% of standard deviation is mean deviation. Which is bigger? Standard deviation is bigger. 80% of standard deviation is mean deviation. 125% of mean deviation is standard deviation. So biggest number is what? Standard deviation. Am I right? So QD, actually mathematically it is incorrect. Actually MD is equal to 0.8 sigma. That is 80% of sigma. And QD is equal to 0.675 sigma. 6 by 675 sigma. But for the exam they used to ask this formula. QD is equal to 2 by 3 SD. And the reverse is SD is equal to 3 by 2 QD. 3 by 2 QD. Okay, reverse is. Actually 2 by 3 means 0.66. Actually the exact value is 0.675. But in our test paper, but in our exam, this model is common. It's approximately equivalent to that. So QD is equal to 2 by 3 SD. 2 by 3 SD. That means around 66%. Around what? Actually 67.5 is the exact value. But for the exam, they used to ask this. Okay. Now look at that. MD. Now look at the biggest measure among these is standard deviation. Which is the biggest measure? Standard deviation is the biggest measure, and 80% of standard deviation is mean deviation. 67.5 of standard deviation is quartile deviation. Am I right? So biggest 100% is standard deviation. 8 is mean. Mean is on the center. 8 is on 80%. Mean is on the center. Quarter chicken. You remember? That is 1 by 4 of the chicken. Am I right? So quarter is on the bottom. Am I right? The smallest measure is quartile deviation. Next biggest measure is mean deviation. And the biggest measure is, what is that? Standard deviation. So which is the biggest one? Standard deviation greater than MD greater than QD. And the reverse is also possible. QD less than MD less than SD. Now my dear friends, in year 2015 December, they asked 2 questions from here. One is this and the other is, I think, this or this. Any one of these. I don't remember exactly. Either this or this. Okay. 2 questions they asked from December 2015. Understood? So these are relationship. Again, myself Asif Pazheri. For more videos, search Asif Pazheri on YouTube. CA CPT classes. Thank you very much.